Hello everyone and welcome back to yet another video. Today's topic, the benefits of printing your work. Let me make a quick distinction. So this video is going to be about the generalities of printing your work. And what I mean by that is whether you choose to print it at home or whether you choose to send it away, it doesn't matter. It's the benefits of printing your work. Now some of this will benefit more from sending it away. I think it comes out cheaper. There will be another video where I discuss, is it worth buying your own printer, like a pro printer? And I'm going to break it down. I'm going to break down the cost of the printer, the ink, the paper, and then we'll compare what it is to have it done somewhere else, cheaply, sending it away to a kind of a pro place where you get archival quality stuff like you would put up in a museum. And then just doing it at home on a professional printer, which is, if you buy the right printer with the right inks and the right paper, it's also archival. If somewhere along this video you decide that this is a cool topic or you're enjoying it, please give it a like down over here. And if you're not a member already, please subscribe over here on this side and hit the little notification bell, please, so that it tells you when another video comes out. So as you know, we have become a world of people that take thousands of pictures every year because now we have these really cool devices, right? Smartphones, which, does anybody really use this for a phone anymore, right? It should be called something else at this point. But we take a lot of pictures with these things. And the problem is that the pictures that we have are the pictures that are at hand. So the pictures that are on this phone are the ones that I readily access. Every once in a while I'll back it up to my computer, but rarely do I go to my computer to look at pictures. My daughter will ask to see pictures of her when she was a little baby, and every once in a while we'll do that, but it doesn't happen very often. And at the end of the day, that's the biggest problem, that we have thousands of pictures and videos on this device or our devices, and the truth is, even having them here, we are too busy to take the time to enjoy them. And then what are you enjoying? Look at the size of this thing, right? When you print stuff out, 8x10s, 5x7s. Worst case, 4x6 is even bigger than this. And this is a big phone. This is a tablet. I mean, this is not a tablet, it's a Note. It's a Samsung Note. So it's not a small phone by any means. So without further ado, let's get into this topic. This one is a little bit philosophical, kind of our Photo Philosophy Friday theme. I don't know if you've heard of Dr. Joe Dispenza. If you haven't, he's worth looking up and listening to on YouTube and reading his books. I've read many of them. He's amazing. So Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about how many of our memories that we bring from the past into the present are actually negative because we have something to settle, something we did that we regret, something that somebody did to us that we regret or we hate or we despise or, and what we do is we carry them into the present. And so one of the things he talks about is, he says the mind, the brain, doesn't know the difference between when you are imagining something or when you actually live it. It doesn't know the difference. So if you imagine something or think about it enough times, it becomes a reality. So imagine bringing things from the past that are negative, because he says most of our memories are negative, and we're bringing them into the present, and then our brain doesn't know the freaking difference. So that's why we're stressed out all the time. That's why people are walking around bitter and angry. So one of the ways to alleviate that, I think, is how about we go back into the past and we bring back positive things that we enjoy, things that brought a smile to our face, relatives that we remember. Some of them are no longer around. That in itself is a wonderful reason to go into the past and bring into the present pictures, right? Print out some pictures. So how do we do this? Well, you can print out everything that you take on a trip, for example, but that's a little too much. I mean, some people do this, right? They'll buy albums and they'll print out every picture that they took on the trip and they'll put it on a shelf. And after a few years, you're full of books. You know what? There's nothing wrong with that. That's absolutely wonderful. But if you have 100 books after a few years and you're not going to go back to look at them because there are too many, then you may as well just keep them on here if you're not going to look at them, right? the purpose, the ultimate purpose of printing is to be able to easily access these pictures. So what I recommend, and of course everybody's different, right? What I would do for myself is I would have maybe of each trip the 10 best pictures. And if you limit yourself that way, you can have one photo book, and then you can put, the first trip that you put in there, first 10 pictures, right? And you label it, right? My trip to Cancun. And you pick the 10 best. And maybe your number's 20. I don't know. Everybody's different. But you stick to that number, right? And then you take another trip later on, the next year, and then you label it in the album, and you put your next 20 pictures in there, and then so on and so forth until you run out of space on the album, and then you get another album. But the nice thing is you have a bunch of stuff on one album, right? You have more space on the shelf. You're printing less pictures, but you still have the memories. You still have the smiles and those beautiful landscapes and the sunsets and sunrises and kids playing and all kinds of things. And if you are more flexible-minded and you don't want to limit yourself to 10 or 20, then just be random. But keep it at a controlled number, right? So one trip may be 10, the other one may be 15, the other one may be 20, but you're printing them out. That's the bottom line. You're taking these pictures, you're printing them out for reason number one, to bring positive memories into the present that'll carry us into the future. Reason number two for printing our pictures. We have many pictures, right, that we take. So how about we definitely print. If we don't want to print stuff from trips, that's okay. But we definitely print those pictures that we consider wonderful to us, right? So out of a trip to Cancun, I may end up taking 500 pictures, but I come home and I look at them, and there are 3 pictures that just blow me away. One is my family together doing something special that we did. Another one is this amazing sunset with the clouds and just something you don't see every day, right? We just happen to get lucky. And another one might be a little street down one of the towns, right? Or a neighboring town, or at the resort, or something just spectacular. And you take your favorite pictures, just 2 or 3, and you print them. Why? Because when we put those up around us in your office at home, in your office at work, anywhere around the house, or just keep them really handy, like maybe after a year you take the ones you've done all year and you make a small book and you keep it around your coffee table in the living room, that inspires you to continue taking pictures. Because let's face it, we all go through lulls. Writers go through lulls, painters go through lulls, and photographers go through them. I was living in Florida for 5 years, and I went through a huge lull. I barely pulled my camera out for some reason. I was busy with work and school, and I was doing my master's, and I was just ultra busy learning, right, about Florida in general, and hadn't figured out where to buy professional film, which is what I used to shoot back then. We're not talking digital, we're talking film, and where to expose it professionally. So while I figured out all those things and bothered looking into it, I didn't pull my camera out for the longest time. Simply, I wasn't inspired. I just wasn't inspired. And Dr. Wayne Dyer used to say, inspired comes from in spirit. So when you're not inspired, your spirit isn't right? Your feelings and your whole being is just kind of off a little bit. So reason number 2, to become in spirit or inspired. Reason number 3 is actually a really simple reason. I was at the store one time with my wife, and we're figuring out what artwork we like to bring home with us, right? And we were getting away from buying that artwork that all the stores sells, all the stores sell, because you hang it up at home, and that 1 million people in the country have the same piece with the same frame. It takes away the specialty of having that. So we started going to galleries, and we started going to, and quickly realized, this stuff is expensive, right? You buy a painting or a photograph. I have a photograph. I'm gonna expose that in one of the videos one day. $1,500, 25 years ago. So imagine what that would cost today, right? I eventually got that insured. But that's the kind of stuff you buy when you want something special on your wall. So we're in the store and kind of a gallery, and we're looking at this stuff, and we look at each other, and why don't I start by hanging up some of my work? I mean, I sell it. I do exhibits in Atlanta. Why don't I just take some of that stuff and and we'll choose it together, and we'll pick a few and we'll hang them up around the house. And what a better way to advertise your work. So not only because art is expensive, but because you promote yourself. People come to your home and go, oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. Where did you get that? Oh, I took it. And if you go on my website, you can buy one, right? And I'll give it to you for a break since you're a friend. So you get to promote your work. You get the point. Reason number 4 is kind of one of those that even I forget. Sometimes I'm scratching my head and I'm sitting there saying, what am I going to give my friend for his birthday? Or what am I going to give this couple friend of ours that just bought a new home? And we can't figure out what the heck to get them. And then, oh my gosh, I'm going to enlarge one of my pictures. I'm going to print it on a canvas. I'm going to frame it, and that's going to be the gift for their home. Oh, beautiful idea. And you know what? You do something like that, and you do it from the heart, right? You do it with such love for the people that you care about. And then when they get it, they feel that. Because when it goes up on their wall, it's so special to them because you took it, and it's right from your heart, from your eye, from your camera. And especially if you're starting to get well known, then it's from a well-known photographer. When you do that, by the way, I recommend that you have your business cards at hand, and when you give them the photograph, right, to put up on their wall, any kind of gift that you decide to give, maybe it's printing on a mug, or maybe it's printing on a mouse pad. You know, give them about 5 business cards and tell them to keep them handy so that when somebody says, hey, where did you get that? Just please, can you pull out a business card and just give it to them and say, hey, look at this photographer's work online. And if you like something, you know, he's a great friend, just go check it out and buy some of his stuff, right? Doesn't hurt. References are the best and most affordable marketing. I mean, really, think about it, right? Somebody recommends you with a passion and the other person ends up buying your work. It costs you really a business card. That's it. And in many cases, it's if your friend cares about you and is pushing your work anyway, sometimes not even a business case. Some of my friends are so wonderful. They just, whenever they talk to somebody and the topic ends up being, you know, photography. Oh my gosh, you got to go to Juan. He teaches photography. Send your kids to him. Send your aunt to him. Buy his work. He's, you know, so your friends are your best marketing scheme, really. They're wonderful for that. And reason number 5 is simply because when we print our work, we become more critical of it. So let me give you an example, right? This over here is a photograph that I had printed on metallic paper. And I send it away, by the way. And then I put it in a frame, in a mat and a frame. See how simple this was? And look how pretty that looks, right? Yeah, it's gonna look nice on the computer where nobody sees it, or I can hang this up or give it as a gift. This actually, I put these little things to protect it, but this was at an exhibit for a little while. I had some small ones that I was selling. So look at this flower, right? I wanted it to focus on that. I hope it did. So it looks so much prettier when it's framed, right? But let me show you something else. This is printing on paper, right? But this is where we get to open our mind a little bit. Check this out. Aluminum. Isn't that freaking beautiful? Look at this. Printing on a sheet of aluminum. So if you're giving something that you know is going to go in a basement or maybe a bathroom or a kitchen where there's a little bit more, you know, humidity and soil, that's a great thing. You can print on canvas, you can print on mugs, you can print on anything. But when you print and you're sitting there looking at this, things start to look a little differently. Like, you know what? I think I cropped this too much. It would have been nicer if I stood back a little and got some of these little, I forget the names of these things. But this is a flower, right? Is it focusing it? I hope it is. There you go. So, you know, you look at it and you go, oh, maybe it's a little blurrier than I thought. It looked fine on the monitor, but yeah, this isn't, you know, I could have done this better. That's the beauty of printing your work. You become so much more critical of it. When you're looking at a photograph, especially if you print it nice and big, and you're staring at it, yeah, it's beautiful. But all of a sudden you start to do the, oh, I should have done this and I could have done that. And why didn't I think of that day? And that's okay. That's okay, because your next trip somewhere, you're going to be thinking of these things and you're going to take even better pictures. You know what? We did not take a water break. I'm upset. We got to the end of this video. It's a short video and we did not take a water break. I'm taking my water break. Sorry, because I usually ask you to pause the video and go get your water, but we're pretty much done. For the next video, we're going to talk about, like I mentioned earlier, does it pay to print, at home? Does it pay to buy a printer? And I'm going to show you some stuff. You'll be surprised. I hope this video motivated you to get some of your stuff out of your computer, put it on a memory stick, take a trip down to or send it via, electronics to your local place and have them printed and pick them up there, or just, if it's further away, have them printed and sent to your home. But definitely, especially family stuff, print your pictures, put them in an album, keep them handy where every once in a while where you have nothing to do, you pick up the album, you look through it and you go, oh my gosh, wonderful times, love it. You remember your family members, you remember yourself 10, 20 years back. I mean, it's cool to do that stuff, right? Those are the good memories. That's what you want to keep at hand so that you bring that into the present and that carries you into the future with a positive mindset. Again, like, subscribe, and comment below if you have any thoughts on this topic. I love you guys from the bottom of my heart. Ciao for now.